all very welcome here to Echelon Park, Aughrim this evening, and especially the clubs who are in our county finals next weekend and the following weekend. In the intermediate football, Hollywood and Avondale. In the senior football, Baltinglass and Carnew. In the intermediate hurling, we have Aughrim v Carnew, and in the senior hurling, Bray v Carnew. First of all, a couple of thank yous to our sound, Kieran Fitzgerald, and on the cameras, Eugene Kavanagh and Stephen Lawless. We would like to encourage all patrons that will be attending our county finals to purchase their tickets online and come early to avoid the rush. As you all know, the car park will only take a certain amount, so we encourage everybody that's coming to our county finals to come early. Thank the PRO committee, as led by Stephen Lawless, for arranging this here this evening, and the best of luck to all our clubs in the county final. Without further ado now, I would like to call on the clubs, the representatives, to carry up the cups here this evening to the top, and then I will introduce you to our host for this evening's Up for the Match 2025, Mr. Daniel Kennedy.
Up first.
Bring up the cups. Come ahead.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just before we get started, a bit of a housekeeping. In case of an unfortunate event, the emergency exit over to your left, the door you came in through. Of course, I want to say thank you very much to Aidan Kelly and Lucy Mooney for bringing up the Intermediate Football Championship Cup, to John Sullivan and John Henderson for the Senior Hurling Championship Cup, Don Hyland and Rosie Dunn for the Intermediate Hurling Cup, and Rob McHugh and Brian Doran for the Senior Football Cup. So with O'Donoghue, Cullen, O'Farrell and Miley all up for grabs that will be won over the next couple of weeks in this show, we'll be hearing from panels from all the clubs, as well as an independent panel with some music, dancing, as well as a draw at the end. We'll start here now with Faye Doran with a bit of music.
On Carnew's main street, the flags fly high. Yellow and blue shine bright, brings a tear to your eye. The Emmets march proudly with hearts burning through. County finals are calling, we've more than a few. Pa goes rearing and tearing and fighting with might. His ash stick is clashing from morning till night. Carnew, la 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 la. We'll keep thriving and striving for cups till the final whistles blew up. 24 came promotion, it made the crowd sing. Went on up to senior, what a beautiful thing. In the darkest of hours, Carnew never stopped. With hearts full of fire, their drive never dropped. Rockies rearing and tearing, the captain so bold, a leader to all as their victories unfold. Carnew, la 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 la. For the yellow and blue I adore, for the parish to last evermore. When my time's at an ending, when my days are no more, bury me in my jersey for Carnew evermore.
Faye Doran 4. Now we're going to go into our first panel of the night, which is the Independents panel. I'd like to invite up Bobby Keogh, Liam Cullen and Owen Dunn. Bobby from Kilkenny, Liam from Montoker, and Owen Dunn, of course, the senior Wicklow Championship selector. Well, lads, so first thing, Bobby, you're the closest to me. I'll go to you first. What's been the biggest shock of this year's championship?
We're talking across the whole board now then.
All board, hurling, football, whatever you like.
I suppose they got over now. I suppose Carnew in the senior final was a bit of a shock, isn't it?
I think, I don't think anyone's mentioned that before. Sure, like what do you think has kind of led to their shock? I mean, with their football, you've probably played against them many times in the past. How have you found playing against them?
I suppose it's a good rivalry between ourselves and Carnew for years from juveniles up along. I suppose I suppose I know a lot of the team, a lot of the guys down there. There's a lot of work going on in the background in Carnew, in fairness to them. From the juveniles up, they've done a lot of work on the rest and seeing things, so their club moving in the right direction, in fairness to them.
Right, I'll come to you now, Liam, next. I'm going to go with the same shock. You can't say Carnew. I know everyone wants to say it, but you have to pick something new. Any particular shocks?
Look, I think the senior championship and the senior football championship I'm probably here to talk about, but it's been an open championship, so I wouldn't class Carnew as a shock. You know, the performances last year in the intermediate championship been exceptional, and they've carried that into this year. Just thinking before I come on here, they've knocked out my own club on Toker, they've knocked out Arklow, they've knocked out Ratnew, they've drew at Baltinglass, and add that to the 5 or 6 championship matches that they've won last year. They're on a roll here. They're 9 out of 10 matches, and I'm looking forward to Sunday to see them coming up against Baltinglass. You know, Baltinglass they're an exceptional team, and they've probably been the most consistent team over the last 5-6 years in championship. So I think it's set up for a really good battle on Sunday. So, you know, not so. I as I say, I'm not shocked with Carnew. I know the tradition in Carnew. It's not a shock to me that they're in the final, but it's as I say, it's good. The championship's good at the moment. It's open, you know, and every team going into it fancies their chances. So, and that's what makes it exciting. It makes it worth coming to watch the games, because there's something on every game.
Absolutely. And for yourself, Owen, I want you to specifically think about hurling now for the question of what's the biggest shock. I suppose there's been a couple of good seasons out there with a couple of good teams.
Yeah, well, the hurling has probably gone fairly to script nearly in all the matches. Carnew might say they got a bit of a shock in the first round. If they go and win on Sunday week, they might say that was the best thing happened to them when Kiltegan kind of hit them at the end of a match. And other than that, maybe Glenealy beating Kiltegan in a game in the second round here after Kiltegan beating Carnew, and then Glenealy getting the better Kiltegan. And other than that, kind of the hurling matches have pretty much gone to script. The side over here mightn't be happy, but maybe Kilcool getting bet in the semi-final of an intermediate hurling championship as well. Like Kilcool probably would have been fancied to beat the Carnew second team, and fair play to the Carnew intermediates for getting over the line that day. They were excellent and deserved to be in the final.
Absolutely, like that match was played in some horrendous conditions. And Carnew really did pull it through. Now you're dead right.
Are you saying those conditions would suit the Carnew intermediates?
I plead the fifth. So, Bobby, we'll now turn our attentions obviously with our footballers, inter-county footballers and inter-county hurlers. Both had a fairly successful season. On the footballers getting the Tailteann Cup semi-final. Like, did you watch much matches this year in the county?
Yeah, sure, see most of them, Daniel, yeah.
And like, what was the key difference this year between last year's getting to that semi-final?
Sure, look, they've probably got better buy-in from the players. They're probably getting the best talent in the county. Maybe they're missing out on 1 or 2 footballers that are not being seen. It's something you'd imagine that would be noticed this year. To be fair, any game I've been at recently in Aughrim here, Oisin McConville's been at the games. So you would like to think he's going to get the talent in this year and go a step further.
Absolutely, and if you're Liam, for yourself, if you're former manager, of course, of Montoker, as a manager yourself, Oisin McConville's done a good job. What do you feel? Where's the next step really for him to bring this club to county?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I suppose we're all looking for more consistency from the lads. Like they've given us a couple of really big performances, but I suppose ultimately ending up in Division 4 is disappointment for next year. But like they'll have to, the target has to be to get out of that, play at a higher level, and I'd be hoping that Oisin and the lads will, having gone to matches this year, that they'll unearth some new talent. I think there's no point in standing still. I think we need to move forward, bring some new players into the squad, strengthen and build on what they've done over the last couple of years. There's definitely signs there that we're capable of playing at a higher level. As I say, if we can, from looking at the club championship, intermediate, senior, I think there are players out there that can come in and strengthen the squad for Oisin. So, I think I'm looking forward to another positive year next year, out of Division 4, pick up another couple of results in Leinster Championship, see where that takes us. But, build on, there has been, I think there's been progress over the last number of years with the county, with bringing players through. It's a new squad, young squad, so, but I don't want to stand still or go backwards. I'd like to see it moving on to a higher level,
Absolutely, and like speaking of moving on, the Wicklow hurlers were really within a point of getting to the Christy Ring final, and Owen, you're well involved with the hurlers. What was the key difference between 2025 and 2024 for them?
Just the key difference was that we got lads back earlier. Like we'd kind of come in very late, like a week before the first league match 2 years ago, and it was kind of a year where you were just trying to win one match and stay in a Christy Ring. Whereas last year we kind of had we got a panel in a bit earlier. We got a good block of work into them. The league is something that has to be targeted for next year, like to be consistent up at a Christy Ring level year on year. We need to kind of target getting into Division 2 of the Hurling League. And there's good lads there. There's a committed bunch of players. There's a good kind of coaching structure and S&C coming up from underage all the way up to senior. And, just for last year, it can't be a flash in the pan year. That has to be kind of the level where Wicklow are at it. They're up at that top level, getting to Christy Ring finals, trying to get to the Joe McDonagh. And the players are there once kind of everybody buys in and everyone's part of it.
Absolutely, and lads, for the matches to come up, I'll go to yourself, Bobby and Liam. For Baltinglass and Carnew, do you want to put your neck on the line and give a verdict?
He's looking at Brian Doran here now, and he's giving me surely I won't get Danny Carnew home now and I'd say he'll be on the phone to me. So, sure, look, it's a close one, isn't it?
That's a fair answer. Do you know what? I'll give it intermediate football. Avondale and Hollywood.
Another good one. That's tougher again. Sure, look, I suppose the two championship favourites really going into the year. Avondale would probably think there should be a senior outfit. Hollywood too. They nearly got there last year. I fancy Hollywood to just have a bit of experience coming into it. So.
And is he right out there as Hollywood for the win then, including with Bobby? What about yourself, Liam? I suppose I'll give you the harder one now. So, yeah, Carnew and Baltinglass.
I keep changing my mind on it, to be quite honest. During the week, you'd have to fancy Baltinglass. On paper, the talent they have up front with John McGrath, Chris Heaslip, Tommy Keogh the last day played really well. The firepower, if they can get the ball into those guys early, and I'd imagine from a Baltinglass point of view, they want the game opened up to play, an open game. So if they can get that, win the battle in midfield, get the ball in early to forward, similar to what they did last year in last year's county final. I think in the first half, the guys were on fire up front, and again in the semi-final against Tinahely, when the game opened up, their forwards started to show their quality. So I'd imagine from a Baltinglass point of view, they want an open game. From a Carnew point of view, for me, they've been the story of the year, obviously, and they've an uncanny knack of controlling games when they just seem to be able to stay in games, control games. The last day against Arklow, when they came at them, they weathered the storm. didn't panic, took over the game for the last few minutes, got the scores when needed. You know, in Sean Murphy, I think they've the player of the championship so far. You know, I'm going around beating around the bush here. I don't know what, but I would say Baltinglass. I'd probably slight favourites. But the one thing I would say, if Carnew are in the game with 10 minutes to go, within a couple of points, I'd be cashing out on my bet.
Fair enough. Oh, now for yourself, the 2 hurling finals, what would be your verdicts?
Can I go 2 draws?
You could just go Carnew and we go for the 2 of them.
Shane's down there giving me dirty looks, and half the room is Carnew. I suppose kind of the intermediate one, kind of Aughrim, you know, great young fellas, Lorcan, Toni, Adam Life, you know, great to see kind of young talent coming through, and we get to the senior kind of young lads then as well after. But you know, that Aughrim team, I'd say Liam as manager kind of just be pulling his hair out at times, because you could watch them for 10 minutes and they're incredible. Like that last 10 minutes against Glenhealy, they showed real class, you know, hammered the game. But kind of for maybe 45 minutes before that, I'd say the manager were kind of looking at them needing a bit of a kick or something like that, and didn't get themselves going. But they do have like 4 or 5 inter-county standard players in that Aughrim team. Carnew have a lot of experience. So on the day, it'll come down, like you were saying, for the Kilcool match. Like I'd say Carnew will be doing a rain dance, looking for kind of a slower pitch. Probably not poking too much high ball on top of the likes of John Toomey or anything like that. But I pick Aughrim for that one.
Big call. And as for
by a point.
For I suppose again you could have a one-word answer to this one. Could just be Emmets to win the senior one.
Could.
Could. Do you want to get off the hook?
Could. And like, how do you back against this Bray team as well? You know, like it's Carnew had a fantastic year this year. They're probably the team that have been tested the most in the championship. Like you'd look at the championship structure, like, and are Bray actually happy with the challenges they've got this year in Wicklow? Are they battle hard in the way Carnew are? Now, if it was any other team, you'd kind of think they'd probably go against them. But like this Bray team have been on the road so long, they've been there, done that. Kind of, they don't need any more experience or anything like that. But both teams are just littered with leaders. Last year, kind of Carnew getting the 4 goals, got that bit of luck, and you know, maybe was that the year, or do they kind of use that as a kind of a stepping stone that they were close and they get a lot of belief from that and kind of get that extra step this year? So, with all that in mind, like, draw.
Very good. Well, Bobby.
A replay.
Bobby, Liam, Owen, thank you very much, lads. I'm sure we'll see a couple of later on. So now we come to our second act of the evening. I'd like to welcome the ET Jivers from Avondale.
Just as I was set to leave, I was loaded down with bacon and with sausages and tea, and I couldn't find my ticket as I'm walking out the door, till I emptied all my bags out on the floor. So it's back across the ocean to my home, away from home. I'm glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. I'd like to find a way to be to places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. On board the plane I sip a drink while waiting for the meal, just trying not to let my head know how my stomach feels. There's a baby right behind me making sure that I won't sleep, and the flight's too full to find another seat. So back across the ocean to my home away from home. I'm glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. I fell asleep at last just as the plane is touching down, and I aged 10 years just waiting for the bags to come around. And I make it home at last, and I'm barely unpacked when I'm already making plans to go again. So it's back across the ocean to my home away from home. I'm glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. So back across the ocean to my home away from home. I'm glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye.
Thanks again to the ET Joys of Avondale and Faye Doran of Carnew. We're going to go to our first panel now, which is the Intermediate Hurling Championship final panel. We'll have Brian Doran, if you could please make your way up, from Carnew, Don Hyland from Carnew, Shane O'Loughlin from Aughrim, and Donal Lenihan from Aughrim as well. Donal around there. Shane, I'm sure we'll crack on. I'll give you two questions though for Aughrim. We'll start off with yourself though, Brian. As chairman of Carnew, what's led to your success this year as a club?
It's probably hard to point to words, to be honest. Look, it's not just this year in Carnew. Last year we were in the senior hurling final. We won the junior A hurling. Went well in the intermediate. Look, these lads, they're an amazing batch of chaps, to be honest. I couldn't speak highly of them. The effort these lads are putting in, they're in the field 4 nights a week. They're in the gym since last November. I think there's 4 off the senior football team that's not hurling either intermediate or senior next week or Sunday week. So, look, it's been going on for years in Carnew. Not just this year. Yes, we've got to a senior football final, but just couldn't speak any higher than them lads so far over the last few years. And again, not just this year.
Absolutely. And for yourself now, Don, of course, the last time you won the Intermediate Championship was back in 2021. It was also 2019 before that. And can you see similar patterns between this team and those teams in the past?
I suppose the similar pattern with the intermediate hurling in Carnew is anyone who plays intermediate hurling, you're probably playing with 3, maybe 4 teams along the way. You're playing maybe junior football, junior hurling, part of the intermediate hurling, part of the senior hurling panel, senior football panel. So that's the pattern, and it's hard to manage it. And fair play to the lads, John Nugent, for managing that, and it's really hard at times. But this year we've got it right. We've got a boost the last few weeks. There were a few junior hurlers have come in, and I can see a few of them senior or intermediate hurlers Sunday week having to play a part in the senior final as well, which is great and which has been done many a time in Carnew. It's not a problem, it's not an issue. We get on with it and do it. So, as regards the pattern, Sure, nobody gives us a hope so far. We're not going to win anything. I hope this has been recorded. We love that.
I think I said in the last panel I gave you a hope, but Shane, for yourself, obviously you lost last year's intermediate final, and do you think is there a big difference this year in Aughrim for yourselves?
Well, really the difference this year, there's probably a slightly bigger panel. There's more, a few young lads come up from last year's minor side. Other than that, really, there's not that much different. They're going along well. They've put in a good year. They're a good tight bunch of lads. Very young team. But for a team that's so young, they're very tight. Like they're a good bunch of lads.
Of course, they've been together for a while. You won the junior back in 2022, and you kind of came in. You've actually been like at the top in that semi-final, like place really since at the very least. So like what's with Aughrim being now having a hurling side, like what's kind of changed in Aughrim over the last say 10 years or so to get to the stage now consistently?
What's changed is a few local men. I suppose Liam Keenan, really, to name someone, got a hurling team back going. Like we always had a hurling team and a competitive team, always down through the years within our grade. Like we won intermediate championships in the past, won junior championships, never survived too long in senior, but there's a great tradition of hurling in Aughrim. We've always pulled in a few from around local football clubs. Like there's always a couple from Ranacora, strong represented from Ranacora generally, a couple from Tinnahealy, a couple from Baltinglass. Like that's the way it always has been with hurling around here. Nothing really has changed, only we just got back up on the horse and got going again. I suppose it'd be wrong not to mention that in the last 10 years or so, Luke O'Toole's has really got his act together as a juvenile club, and Ginger and Magella O'Shea have really put a serious amount of work in there, and those young fellas coming up through the ranks, they're find themselves now, they're young men and they're wanting to hurl more.
Absolutely. And going on it now, Brian, the intermediate hurlers, like how have they been going in training so far, or are you going to spill some beans or not?
Look, Dan hit the nail on the head there. Our intermediate team has struggled for numbers all year. The panel, I think, again, Baltinglass in the first match, we had 17 or 18 tagged out, And our junior team was beaten in the Junior A semi-final there. Again, the eventual winners, Avondale, and the best of luck to them. But look, Dan was involved with that junior team, and since they were beaten, there was 7 of them lads tagged out our intermediates in the semi-final against Kilcole, and it just made a massive difference. I think 3 of them come on. You need numbers, and as Dan said, the intermediate team has been pulled, especially in the hurling. There's a lot of junior lads there that think they're not maybe good enough for intermediate. The senior lads are senior, so the intermediate team does struggle a bit there. But you just seen it. I think we've built from every game. Like we're probably poor enough again, Baltinglass in the first game, if I'm being honest. But in the semi-final against Kilcole, as I said, them 3 juniors come on and they got us over the line that day. So I genuinely think we have pushed and got better and better with every game. And that was definitely seen in the last couple of minutes against Kilcole in the semi-final, I thought.
And for yourself, Don, looking at the Carnew team this year, is there any particular player you'd want to pick out as he's been the key man?
Without John Young, centre back, he's been really driving it on every day. He's very close to being on the senior team. I'd say it's a bit of a headache for the management, a good headache to have, but he's been really driving it on. We played Aughrim last year as well now, and I have to say now, not just because Lockie's beside me here, but that was probably the best game of hurling was played in the whole championship across the board last year, senior intermediate. It was a brilliant game of hurling, and we were lucky to come out the right side of that day. And even though nobody's giving us a hope Sunday week, we'll go anyway.
And as for yourself there, Shane, you've actually started off like with the loss to Kilcole, but have seemed to have grown like into it for yourself. Like who's been the key men for that continuous growth in this year's championship?
Key men, look at your 3 county men, obviously you're going to be noticed straight away as your 3 strong men, John, Dylan and Ian. John is having a strong year, strong player, can't deny it, but he's a fine hurler, fine man. And Dylan on his day now, when he gets going, a very stylish hurler, does a lot of good stuff. But look at no 2 or 3 men ever won anything. It takes a panel, not even 15, it takes a panel, lads. From David Whitty in the goal all the way up to corner forward in Mark O'Shea, up by O'Minor. I wouldn't name anyone being over-dependent on. If you're over-dependent on anyone, you might as well go home. As regards Carnew, just turning up, Dan. Did you ever not turn up?
Well, just with that, of course, go back to Carnew and yourselves. You've won the last 2 minor championships, and how have you felt that the players coming up from minor have integrated into adult hurling?
Yeah, look, we've brought Ken Cullen through there for the last couple of years. Phenomenal chap, but we have serious minors coming through there now again. But like them chaps that's won that minor for the last 2 years, this is actually their year. Like, we've been very young for the last couple of years, so we've got a few through in the last couple of years, but there's 7 or 8 of them here tonight, and they're only egging to get through to senior hurling, intermediate hurling. I don't know. Yeah, look, we do have strength coming through at the minute on tonight. Look, hopefully in the future, if we're not having to Bray this Sunday, maybe we get him the next time, or Sunday week, I should say. But yeah, look, we're going well. Look, we're going for 3 in a row in the minor, and again, probably Bray is there to catch us again, but they have strength coming through as well, obviously. And Luke O'Toole's, like, there's very good minor teams out there. Wicklow, Aughrim, serious minors there as well. Like, so look, future hurling is not as bad as some people try and paint it in Wicklow, to be honest. There's a lot of good talent out there.
Grant, John, just like in intermediate hurling, just in case of being a second team, like, what kind of mix of players are you looking at there?
Well, sure. I just touched on it there. Like, that team, it's been pulled and dragged between hurling and football, between senior hurling, senior football, right? Junior hurling, junior football, and it's been managed really, really well this year. Between, like, from senior right down, we work together. We just spoke about the gap there between minor and integrate them into the adult club and all. The junior team has been doing that for the last, this is only the second year really, but that has helped lads, like last year, the first round of the junior hurling league last year, Ken Cullen and Fionn Darcy started that day. And that got them into an adult dressing room. It is a big step for young fellas, and that was a help for them, I think, anyway. They would have made it anyway, 100%. They're 2 brilliant players. But that helped them along the road, and we're trying to do that, and we'll be doing that next year again with the young lads coming again. There is a big gap between 17 and adult. So, as regards the intermediate team, I keep saying that there is lads being pulled and dragged everywhere, but when you're winning, it's so easy. It's so much easier to keep going to the field. And any senior team will tell you, if your second team is driving it on, it makes things a lot easier going to the field with a full pitch every night. And please God, we get over the line now.
So then, Shane, coming to yourself, really, what's the key in the preparation for Aughrim for next weekend?
I suppose the first thing in our preparation is because we're a club hurling team made up of several football teams, it's very hard to prepare during the year. It's very hard to get a night that everyone's free. So the last 3 weeks when nearly everyone has gone out with their football, they have a free reign, so they're probably getting 2-3 nights a week for the first time all year. Other than that, look at what do. They'll do what they always do. They hurl, they'll work on things, they'll hurl, and that's what hurling is about, just hurl and skill, and they'll prepare, think about the game. Tactics, I'm not going to talk about tactics because look at this intermediate hurling, this is not Limerick and Cork, they'll go out and hurl like hell, like we did, Brian. I don't know. They'll put it all in and they'll just plan to leave it all out there on the day, and that's all anyone can do.
Brilliant. Well, Brian, Don, Shane, thank you very much, lads. Everyone give a round of applause. So now we come to our next act, which welcome to the stage, the Hollywood's Music Generation. Thanks very much to Hollywood Generation Music. So now we have our third panel, which is the Intermediate Football Championship panel. We'll have Kevin Traynor and Peter Halpin from Hollywood could join me, as well as Seamus McGrath from Avondale, and also Bobby Keogh will be returning to ourselves. Big round of applause. Very much. Found your way back there, Bobby. Well, I won't start with you this time. We'll start down the other end of the seat first. We'll go to you, Kevin. So, Kevin, obviously your son will be playing for Hollywood this weekend. How is he preparing for it?
He's very calm, working away, getting all the work done, and I know he's going grand.
And yourself, Peter, as well. You're in the same position.
Yeah, no worries. He's up for it. He's ready for action, and hopefully it'll work out well the weekend.
And Seamus, how many is it? Sons you have?
It's a little bit different for me. I have 4 sons playing, so it's a little bit more invested in it maybe. And but really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Brilliant. And Bobby, well, how do you think they actually are faring now? What's the honesty with them?
Just wondering for Seamus, maybe hope to go in there and get a few players coming our way. It'd be a bit of help. 4 sons is a big addition to any team. So, what was the question again, Daniel? Sorry.
Actually, how do you think they're faring, the households?
I just was mentioning around that, like obviously Avondale, or what was it, 2020, we're in the semi-final of the senior with the teams. Yeah. Probably were unfortunate today not to get into the senior final. Dropped back down now, and probably would fancy them a senior outfit. I suppose Hollywood are battle hardened. They I suppose lost the final last year, unluckily. So yeah, it's a very open contest now. I think weather will make a big difference in the day anyway. Like obviously Avondale are a big, strong, big athletic team, so a day like that might suit them like a lot of dirty water if you want.
So yeah, we'll go to you with this next question, Seamus. So obviously with Avondale, you've got to the hurling semi-final, the senior one now. So how is the club fared having the dual interest at the moment?
Yeah, with the dual, as Carnew well know, it's tough trying to balance players. Football training, hurling training, and injuries, and trying to manage guys and not to overload them too much. But preparations have been going well, and so we're it's great that we can just focus now on the intermediate football for the last couple of weeks. The junior hurling's playing there last week. So yeah, preparations have been going well, so hopefully everything going right now. Sunday, but we know we're up against it. Hollywood in intermediate final last year went to a replay, so they know what they have to do to get over the line again. So it'll be a tough ask on Saturday. Yeah.
Of course, let's go to yourself, Peter. Kevin, whoever wants to take this one. Obviously, Western Gales got to the semi-final this year, and Hollywood obviously has a lot of players that have played for Western Gales in the hurling. So how have you felt how the lads fared with that dual interest?
Well, I'd say the football management's delighted that Western Gales is finished because they have all their players for the last couple of weeks. Like there was, I think, 7 Hollywood lads starting on the Western Gales team, the 2 or 3 on the bench as well. So I know them lads, the hurlers, between hurling and football, they were going 4 nights a week, maybe a match on Sunday since January. So it was a huge. My own young lad was involved, so I know I was involved. A huge undertaking, I should Carnew, they go through that the whole time, but like. I know the hurlers were they didn't do themselves justice here against Aughrim that day, but we got over the line against Aughrim in the football anyway, so that counted. I know it's a hard balancing act, but I'd say the management, as I said, are delighted the hurling is finished, so they have them for a couple of weeks, to get ready for Saturday.
And for yourself there, Peter, is there any big standout players for Hollywood you felt that deserve a big mention here that got you to this final?
No, they're just a good team. They're even. Mikey Healy, a captain, is a real leader. I think most football people know Mikey and the way he plays. But from 1 to 15, they're all good lads, good skill levels, fit, very young. Some of them are only 17 years of age, 18, 19. So they're 7 under 20 on it. So, a lot of good lads. Put in the effort, always punch up to their weight and above it.
And for yourself there, Seamus, you know, with the new rules that have come into Gaelic football this year, like there's a couple of there's Ushi McGrath, of course, playing for the county as well. How do you think the rest of the Avondale players have fared with these new rules coming in?
I think that's sort of opened up the championship this year with the new rules. A lot of clubs are trying to get used to it, and a lot of clubs are sort of nearly afraid to embrace, you know, letting the ball into the forward line, because really the game has changed. It's a forwards game. If you get the ball into the forward line, they can do damage because it's one-on-ones now, really, you know. So we're hoping that Avondale now this year, I think, have adapted to it a little bit better in the latter part of the championship, and I'm hoping now that they'll go for it. They're in a final and realise that they just can't be passive and take a slow pace. Need to go for the game. So hopefully it'll be a good game on Saturday. Weather is good, and then I think both teams will be, you know, it'll be a very open game. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, speaking of open games, like for Kevin, I'll go to yourself on this one. You know, at intermediate football level, or just football level in general, like, is there any mad tactics that you go through in Hollywood?
Well, I don't know what. I don't know what goes on, you know, down in the club, you know, in the field. I don't know, but all listen, you know, they're all young lads, and you know, they give it a shot anyway. So there's carrying no baggage behind them. You know, they're very young and that. And listen, it's a different ball game. It's totally different. Avondale is a totally different, you know, team than what we have come up against already. But I'm sure they'll give it a lash anyway. And I'm confident now that, you know, they'll go ahead with it, you know.
And for yourself, like Peter, you know, losing the replay last year to Carnew and getting back to a final year, like what kind of mindset do these lads really have in Hollywood?
Look, they're just a good bunch, honest, work hard, and it's our ambition to get back to senior. I think in 50 years we haven't been any lower than intermediate, and it's a small little village. So, like, you can always count on Hollywood turning up anyway, whatever happens after that.
Absolutely, and sure for yourself, Seamus, you won it back in 2012 there with Avondale. One thing I know that my own club was flirting with relegation to intermediate this year, and they said it'd be the worst grade to go into because it's so difficult to get out, and I'm sure Avondale are fairly familiar with that as two teams, really.
True, yeah. 2012, we won the intermediate, and we set up and we went back down 2 years ago, and the guys didn't really realise that how competitive it was, and I think they took it a little bit for granted that, you know, we'll win intermediate and go back up, and realised then. And I think this year the focus has been a little bit different. So I think they came up against Carnew in the semi-final, and that was really their only tester last year. Up to that, it was very easy for the 5 games they had before that, and then Carnew blew them out of the water in Baltinglass, and I think that was really the sort of, I think the penny dropped then for the guys, and I think this year now they knew they had to put in a bigger effort, and so yeah, it's great to get to the final then. It's not always that you put in the effort and you get to the final, but at least they're there now anyway, and it's up to them now to really, you know, push on and hopefully, yeah, win it again. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for yourself, Bobby, like, you know, what have been like the key things that you've seen this year on both the Avondale and the Hollywood sides throughout the championship? Like, what's been different since last year?
I can't pass much comment on Avondale now because I didn't. Obviously, was playing myself, and most of the time the games in Avondale were on. But we actually played Hollywood in the championship. It was a good result in the day now, but we won't say much about that for ourselves, Kilkenna. But I've seen from a Hollywood team that they were full of movement off the shoulder. Young lads with lots of energy. They just seemed like a team that were just well oiled, and they were probably building into a stage where they're going into knockouts. Look, as I said already, they're battle hardened. They were there last year, could have won it. Went to replay, got better in the replay. But they're a very, very good team now. Team that are really going places. Avondale, we played Avondale a couple of times this year. My own club in the league. They beat us. Good, like big units. Big physical men. I said earlier, like the weather will make a difference on the day. Like they're very competitive. So yeah, they break the ball, dirty ball. Then they've got key forwards like Ushi McGrath, like is serious talented footballer. Conor Byrne is back this year. Had a pleasure marking him. Extremely good footballer, very lively. So look at big men stand up in the day. Like which men are bigger is going to probably answer to the result, isn't it?
Absolutely. And for yourself there, Kevin, like, you know, for Hollywood to bring the cup back, like, you know, what's the key thing they have to do this weekend?
I would you ask if any team's performance, and you know, if they perform, they can do it. That's my belief, you know. And you can't. That's all you ask of any team's performance, you know. And to have the youth, it'll stand to them, I think. Last year in the final, it was the worst day I'd say ever. Was in the winter. We played Carnew, you know, and it didn't suit us that day, all right, you know, the bad day. But look what Carnew has done since, you know. So like it's not easy, but we're going to do it.
Well, apologies, Peter, but I have to get Seamus's response to that now. Are they going to do it?
Well, sure. Look at everyone that's here or to get to a final. That's where you want to be. You want to get to a final. I said earlier on, talking to a couple of lads down, saying you get to a final, you think you're going to get to a final every year. It doesn't happen that often, and that's the message that's really been given to the lads in Avondale, that when you get the opportunity to get to a final, make the most of it, give it everything you have, and if you give it everything you have and you don't win, that's it. But at least be in it and give it everything when you're there. So that's where Avondale is coming from.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, listen, thank you very much to Bobby, Seamus, Peter, and Kevin. And now we come to our next stat, which is from Baltinglass, Pauric, McGrath.
Hello. Oh, that's on, all right. How are you doing? My name is Pauric McGrath. Yeah, that's good. Okay, before I sing my song, I'd like to give another shout out to Doran, I think her name was. Really beautiful singer. She's a bit like myself. Sometimes she gets very emotional singing. When I was trying to learn Killa, the first 10 attempts I was in tears. But anyway, this is called Eileen Og. Oh, Eileen Og, now that me darling's name is through the barony, her features they were famous. If we loved her, who was there to blame us? Or wasn't she the pride of Petravore? But her beauty made us all so shy. Devil one among us could look her in the eye. Boys, oh boys, now that's the reason why. Oh, we're in mourning for the pride of Petravore. Oh, Eileen Og, me heart is turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen Og, there's good fish in the sea, but there's nothing like a pride of Petravore. Friday at the fair of Ballintubber, Eileen met McGrath, a cattle jobber. I'd like to set me back upon the robber, for he stole away the pride of Petravore. He never seemed to see the girl at all, even when she ogled him from underneath the shawl. Looking big and masterful, she was looking small, provoking to the pride of Petravore. Oh, Eileen Og, me heart is turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen Og, there's good fish in the sea, but there's nothing like the pride of Petravore. Now it went as was in the beginning, that Eileen Og was bent upon the winning, that old McGrath contently he kept grinning, being courted by the pride of Petravore. Says he, I know a girl who would knock you into fits, with that me marring she nearly lost her wits. The upside of the ruction is now the horse sits with his arms around the bride of Petremore. Oh, Eileen, oh, me heart is turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none that like the bride of Petremore. So boys, with faith it's hard to grapple. Love me, I know Eileen was the apple. Now I see a waltzing out to chapel with the hardest featured man in Petremore. Oh boys, take heed in what I say. When you're a courting, don't make no display. If you want them to run after you, just look the other way, cause they're mostly like the bride of Petremore. Oh Eileen, oh, me heart is turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none them like the bride of Petremore. None them like the bride of Petremore. None them like the bride of Petremore. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Pauric, McGrath, Baltinglass. So we're going to take a quick break here now. There's refreshments in the back there, and we'll see us back here in about 10-15 minutes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of Up for the Match. I'm going to go into the audience now and pry out a few people to ask me a few questions about the matches coming forward. I suppose we'll start off with Bray Emmets here, Barry Hogan of Bray Emmets. How are Bray getting on now?
Not too bad, Dan, yeah. I'd like to say, first of all, to Faye as well, well done. I'll be nearly shouting for Carnew after that uplifting rendition. But only nearly. No, we're actually going well enough now. We're getting into training fairly hot and heavy at the moment. And as the lads said earlier on, we just kind of wonder how much we've been tested. And, you know, obviously, like Carnew had a harder battles up along, so it's hard to know where you're at exactly. But hope for the best, Jack. Yeah, keep plugging away.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Barry. And next, I suppose, who will I pick out? John Sullivan around there. There he is. How you get on, John? So, John, you were part of the Carnew panel 52 years ago that won the double. So, are you seeing this kind of feeling like that year again?
Well, I want to make it quite clear, Daniel, I was very young that time. Yeah, I was lucky enough to play in that final, and when you're young, you don't know what it means to people, but the older members of that panel, the likes of Jack Kilbride, Rory O'Shea, Sid Brennan, the Collinses, and Sean Doyle, like it meant so much to them because they were coming near the end of their tether. And to me, I was only a young lad and I was going to be in a county final every year, but it just didn't happen that way. But look, we've had a good innings along, and the lads has been brilliant there all year. So look, hopefully on Sunday, fingers crossed, they can do it.
Certainly best of luck. Thanks, John. So now I'll make the long way over. Don't hit a few legs. I'm going to go on to Lucy Mooney here of Hollywood, Club Secretary. Lucy, how's the nerves for this weekend?
Nerves are good, yeah. We're hopeful. The lads are relaxed, and we hope that everything will go well and everyone will come out safe and sound out of it. And we'll win by a point.
Do we agree?
Yes, of course. Yes.
In fairness, I think the Hollywood crowd have getting a lot of those little jibes in today, so you're confident anyway?
Yes, we're confident, yes. We have to be confident. No point going playing if you're not confident.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Lucy. And now head over this way to Brian Kilcoyne of Baltinglass. Brian? How are you, Brian? So, how are you feeling for this weekend against Carnew?
Cautious enough. We're carrying a good few injuries, so I wouldn't be that confident, you know. But seriously, I have a great relationship with Carnew. I had the pleasure, well, I wouldn't say it's the pleasure, but I'm playing on that young man over there, John Sullivan, one day. but it took me a month or two to recover after. But there was always a good rapport between the two clubs, and hopefully it's a good game. Carnew have improved out of sight this year. Every game they're getting stronger and stronger. I suppose it is a bit of a fairy tale, but they're there on merit. It's going to be a good game, and the best team win. If we can get our injuries healed up by Sunday, I'd say we've written the show.
Thank you very much, Brian. Big round of applause for everyone participating there, please. Thank you. Gee, it's a long walk. So now we come to our next panel, which is the Senior Hurling Championship final. I'd like to welcome to the stage once again Don Hyland of Carnew, Owen Dunn and John Henderson of Bray Emmets. Man, on apologies. I was meant to get you for the intermediate. Slipped me mind there. Apologies. Well, I suppose, John, you're the closest to me, so I'll go to yourself first. How is the feeling in Bray at the moment?
We're feeling good. We know what's ahead. We've been here before. We know Carnew like the back of our hand. They know us. I won't give you cliches about down to the day or who wants it the most. But look, it's the greatest occasion, for my family, the excitement in the club. I see it here tonight. I can feel it. And I think it's the greatest association that we're in, that we can get nights like tonight and matches and days like the Sunday. So I'm really, really proud of our bunch. I'm not going to brag about them, but they've achieved a lot for a long time. And I've watched them since they were children, growing up, and I'm very, very proud.
Brilliant. And Don, for yourself, how are Carnew going to stop the 7 in a row?
That's the big question, I suppose, yeah. But look, I think we're better this year. We've got a better test in the championship so far compared to what Bray got. But Bray are very, very seasoned. They've won Leinster. They're even this year, looking at the Wicklow County team, they were the backbone, and every day it was the Bray men who stood up every day and played well. But I think we've got a bit of an injection this year of a bit of youth. I spoke about Ken Cullen and Fionn Darcy earlier. Rory Stokes has come in. John Young, Owen Young, them two young lads, Cormac and Dan Redmond. These have given it a real boost. So I know they were there last year, but they were very young and finding their way and all that. But they've given it a huge boost. And another boost we've got that every club has been suffering with for the last few years is players travelling. And fair play, players have to travel, and that's good. I don't know why this year our lads, we have them all together, and that's massive. That's huge to have everybody especially at senior level, when you're trying to get over the line. You definitely need a panel. You need a big panel to drive lads on, lads fighting for places on the team, and that's been the big thing for me this year, that we've got an injection of youth and we have everybody available to us. So hopefully we can get over the line.
And Owen, for yourself, like I obviously mentioned before, your involvement with the county this year, like between the Bray Emmets and the Carnew lads, they seem to kind of make up quite a large number of your players. And how have you found them going throughout the championship this year?
No, they're fantastic fellas from both clubs, like real leaders. Like you have Pauric Doran from Carnew, John Henderson Jr. back in with us this year. A key thing for me now in this hurling final is going to be both of you have cracking goalies, and they both love long puck-outs. And if Carnew were sending high puck-outs on top of John Henderson, Marshall to half-back line, and if Carnew were sending the high puck-outs, or the other way around on the Doran half-back line, both teams could end up actually targeting the opposition puck-outs as a better attack than their own. So I think kind of both teams maybe have to maybe look at something different, maybe bring in a midfield puck-out, a wing-back puck-out. They need to be brave. They need to try and kind of win a match rather than go out not to lose it, especially kind of Carnew, because Bray have won these. They know how to do it. I think there's a lot of shadow boxing in the semi-final. I don't think Jack Doyle will be out around the midfield. I don't think Christie will be out around half forward like these lads. I think everyone knows where these lads are going to end up on the day, and they're going to be going for kind of goals. But look, see, I think Wicklow hurling needs a good match this year. There's been a couple of good matches, but I think everyone's hoping for a real cracker on Sunday for the final.
Grand. And for yourself, John, you managed Bray last year. You also won 3 in a row between 14 up to 16. How do you manage these couple of weeks between the semi-final and final?
Well, to be honest, it's probably the most exciting and easiest time, because you've got to the final, you know what the prize is, you know what the time that's left, and I always kind of encourage lads to seize the moment, to enjoy the occasion, because it's precious. You don't come every day. You're blessed to get to play in finals and win them. So I always say the message is enjoy, because life's bad enough, and it's a great game. And the winning feeling to me is the only feeling in sport. I know there's participation, and I know there's everything else about sport, and it's a great leveler. But the winning feeling in sport is the greatest feeling that I've ever experienced. And I don't wish it on Carnew now or anything, but we want to hold on to that feeling for as long as we can.
Grand, of course, for yourself there, Don. You were very used to winning back in your playing days. Now it's been 16 years since Carnew have won the O'Donoghue Cup, and is there a good feeling that this time round they'll get over the line?
Yeah, geez, when you say 16 years, that's hard to believe. Like that's really as a family in Carnew. Like we genuinely think we're going to win it every year. We do, like, and the last few years it's probably got to the stage where we're going to get to the final every year, and hopefully that'll change, and it has to change very soon, because we have plenty of players coming, and as John says, it's very easy getting back to the pitch when you're winning. Well, and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, So, I just think we're better this year. We're better prepared. I think another big thing, which wasn't just this year, it was last year as well. Like I spoke earlier about the management's working together, and for years in Carnew we blamed the football, or we blamed the hurling, or we do too much of this or too much of that. I think they've got the balance fairly right from last year, really. The lads will be working hard 3-4 nights a week, and that'll be hurling, football every week. Every week they're doing both. Not like other counties where you can football one week, hurling next week. It's not like that in Wicklow. You could go 5-6 weeks in Wicklow without a hurling match, and that's where we got caught, I think, for a few years. But now I think we've got the balance right. But we'll see Sunday week whether we've got it right or not.
Absolutely. And Owen, for yourself, I know these lads won't give away any secrets, but how do you see Carnew and Bray kind of lining up in this match, like just say positional wise and tactical wise?
Like as I said earlier, I'd say Christie goes inside. Like Christie probably had to put an extension on his mantelpiece at home from man of the match awards and finals alone. Like Christie doesn't have bad finals, in fairness to him. Jack Doyle caused Carnew a lot of trouble, Jack caused Bray a lot of trouble last year when he was in the full forward line. Getting ball in, Fionn, excited to see Fionn in his first senior final. He was summed up there in the semi-final. I thought when the match was almost won by Carnew and a ball broke and he got onto it. And the obvious thing to do was take the point, put the ball dead. And the cockiness, in a nice way, not needed, like the cockiness of youth there, to not even see the point, to go for the goal, that killer instinct, and roof it into the net, that's fantastic to see that in the young fella kind of coming through, and Ken as well. Then out our wing forward, I think Carnew are going to need to have that killer instinct and go for. I don't think points will beat Bray on Sunday. They're going to need to kind of get up around 25-26 point marker. They'll probably need goals to do that. If it comes into a free taking battle, you'd imagine kind of Bray have the edge there. And other than that, kind of a young fella then on the Bray side, like kind of for say Sean Kenny, who's come through the 20s captain this year, and has bided his time, has done his apprenticeship, and like to see him kind of make a breakthrough in the Bray half back line, like of all places for a young fella to break into, like it must be very hard to get into that team, but to get in at wing back in a semi-final, have a very good match, and to give the Bray management a few headaches now for the final as to what team they're going to pick, and have the fellas coming back from out of the country and whatnot, and all sorts of rumours around.
Well, John, I'm sure you won't answer any rumours, but let's talk about, you mentioned Fionn Darcy there, of course, and Bray have had another corner forward come through the ranks, that's Willie Cash. How have you found his performance this year?
Look, I've been watching Willie like kind of since young age, and like he's good pedigree. He's young. A lot of the minors here probably know him well too, so they played on him. They know he's skillful, he's very talented, he takes scores and he gets it. And it's great to see young players breaking in, and like the lifeblood of any team is what you bring into a team, because the older shoulders are old shoulders, and they can only carry so much. And it's the new blood, the young people that you bring in, and you know, that's the success of any great team, that they keep blood in the team and keep adding freshness to it. But a final is a final. It takes on a life of its own. We could predict what you like. It'll be back to the cliches. It'll be on who wants it on the day, the bounce of the ball. But really, it's who wants it the most. And look, I know Carnew want it. I know you want it, but we're going to try to keep it.
And for yourself, Don, well, I know if I ask you, are they going to keep it, you're going to say no. So I'll ask you instead, in regards to, we mentioned youth there, but there's a lot of good leaders there in Carnew that would have won the minor kind of championships around between 2014 and 15. And how do you feel like the likes of Doyle and Doran and these lads, that they're able to assist on the team?
Yeah, well, I think that's anybody who goes, not just to go look at Carnew play hurling, you see leaders, the likes of Pauric, Doran, Jack Doyle, John Doyle Senior has to be mentioned, great man. Martin O'Brien, another great man, driving it on as well. But it's when you go to the field every night of the week, and there they are. They're there every night of the week, on the pitch, in the gym. They're the lads driving it on, and they've brought on these younger players that we spoke about. Now they're really looking up to them there, you know, like they've seemed to have bought into it, you know, the gym training, the S&C, all that. They've really bought in, and that comes from a good culture from the older players who bring that on. They're in the pitch every night, and they look up to them lads, you know. And I just said, like, the pubs are empty in Carnew and the gym is full, so it's working, you know. That's the way it is, like, you know. And these lads it's the senior players who are doing that. They're driving that on, and Pauric and Jack are probably the main men that do that, you know.
Brilliant. Well, listen, John, Don, Owen, thank you very much, lads, and best luck with you. So now we come to our next act, which is the Aughrim Irish Dancers. Thank you very much there to the Aughrim Irish Dancers. Now I'd like to call to the stage for the Senior Football Championship final panel, Robert McHugh, Robert Doyle, Liam Cullen and Brian Doran. Well, Brian and Liam, I suppose I won't go to you lads just yet. I suppose we'll start off with Robert and Robert.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with Robert Doyle anyway. So Carnew back in the final, going for the first title since 1973. Is it a magical year or what for Carnew so far?
Unbelievable. To be honest, it's like 74 they got in the final, I think, as well, John, by Ashford, and 73 they won it. They won the Dublin 73. I think 1980 intermediate, 2008 intermediate last year, and back up senior to compete in the final. It's phenomenal. But when you look at the team in the last 2 years, there's been a massive progression within that squad, within the team. And would I say it's a surprise? No? Bobby? No, it's not a surprise because they've competed in every game. And you can see it around the town, you can see it here, you can see it in the club. It is magical little time in the club, in the area, and yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Brilliant. And for yourself, Robert McHugh. So Baltinglass going for their first championship title since 2020. You've had a bit of heartbreak since, and how's the feeling around Baltinglass right now?
Yeah, the feeling's pretty good at the moment. We've been privileged to have these crowd of lads as ambassadors for the club. They won the championship 2020 under the guidance of Brian Heaslip, who's with us here tonight. Heartbreaking 21, lost by a point late in injury time. 22 had a fantastic team, same bunch of lads. Lost again by 2 points very unluckily. 24 last year, 6 points up against Tinnahealy, got caught at the end, weather changed, and but they're battle hardened now and they're ready for the championship final tomorrow or Sunday. They face a difficult challenge up against a formidable Carnew team, and as Brian alluded to already, that Baltinglass and Carnew have tremendous respect and rivalry among ourselves. Remember years ago when we won the All-Ireland, the Carnew boys had come up to Baltinglass, have a few beers. Brian has a great association with Don Hyland and Emmets Sullivan and John Sullivan there. I think I played my first championship match in 1980 as a young fella, and I had the privilege of marking Ty Collins, and as Brian said, it took him a week to recover after marking John. It took me a month to recover after marking Ty. But the respect is fantastic there. Carnew came a long way. I suppose last year they were lucky to get over the line again. Hollywood in a dogged battle down here in Aughrim was at that game. But this year they've shown remarkable resilience to really bounce back. Beaten by Bray by 7 points. I know they came out of Ashford that day thinking, God, we're in trouble this year, but they really rallied the wagons, circled the wagons, gave a couple of outstanding performances. And they've taken down some big guns, so it's no fluke. So we face a formidable challenge against a really resilient and robust team, and they'll bring a level of physicality that we haven't seen all year, a different level of physicality, in the right sense. That there'll be no quarter after given, and it'll be a tough game again, two traditional sides who have fantastic mutual respect for both clubs,
Brilliant. And sure, for yourself, Liam, in the championship, these two, they played each other in the group. No separation, so difficult, nearly impossible to call, you reckon?
Yeah, difficult one to call, yeah. Your Carnew, you just keep doing what you've been doing all year. They've been winning those individual battles. They've been controlling games. As Robert says, they're there on merit. They've been worthy winners in all the games. I've seen them in all their games. They've been worthy winners in all the games. They're playing a good brand of football. And you're saying, keep that going, dictate the pace of the game, play it on your terms. If you're Baltinglass, it's that battle around midfield. They've Sean Doody, who played really well the last day, Jack Kirwan. If they can win possession, I said it earlier, get it into the forwards. They've dangerous forwards. I can't wait for the game. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be, I think I've changed my mind on from when I was up here earlier. But it's going to be a cracking game. as I say, it's all to play for. There's key battles, as I say. I've been impressed with a lot of the Carnew guys all year. As I said earlier, Sean Murphy, Richard Green has been exceptional. He seems to pop up everywhere on the field. Pauric Doran's controlling midfield. They seem to rotate the partner in midfield, and it's causing confusion for teams. But yet they're winning possession at the right time. They're well drilled, well organised team, and they'll take beating. But as I say, on the flip side, Baltinglass, they've been the most consistent team over the last 6-7 years. Quality all over the field. A lot of leaders on the field. I think they're starting to come through this year. You've Mark Jackson in goals. You've the two Burks. You've Arun, Dan, and then you've John McGrath, who's, for me, has been the best forward in the county over the last 5-6 years. And they're all, from looking in from as neutral and looking in, they all seem like leaders. They seem like good lads to have in the dressing room, and lads you want on your team. So it's going to be a good battle.
Absolutely. And Brian, I'll come to you next to this question. Ben Brosnan has been an absolute star this year for yourselves, and of course your only loss coincided with him being sent off. How do you feel his influence has been on the lads in the club?
Yeah, look, there's nothing like Ben has brought the X factor to Carnew. There's no point denying it, But then, like, Ben's been around Carnew for longer than the last 2 years. I think people need to know that Ben is married and living in Carnew for 10 or 12 years. He's coached underage teams for us. He's been involved. His kids are playing in Carnew. But Ben has he's gave a hand with adult teams down through the last couple of years as well. But look, Ben is the X factor, as I said. The players, they listen to Ben. They've learnt a lot from him. But a lot of teams are saying, oh, it's the Ben Brosnan show. It's far from the Ben Brosnan show. Like, we have serious footballers there. Your Sean Murphys, your Richard Greens, like Mop in the goal, Cormac Mop as we know him, but like Mop has been outstanding for us for the last couple of years in the goal. Jack Dials, the Pauric Dorans, the two Emmets, we have a pool of football talent there. We're not just going to talk about the Ben Brosnan. Yes, he has brought a lot to Carnew, and they have learnt a lot from him. There's no denying it. But as I said, around Ben there's a very good team there as well. Just like a lot of people have said all year, after every draw, everybody wanted to get Carnew. We're there on merit, and I know somebody said it there earlier. We come through the league, we're promoting to Division 1, or from Division 1 to the league there this year. We had 8 and 10 players away, first team football players away with county hurling panels mainly. And we went through that league and got promoted. So what I'm trying to say is we're a good team. Don't let anyone, So, as I said, with 8 or 10 lads away, with 8 or 9 of our junior lads stepping up, some of them still on the team. But we went through the league, and then it went from 2 groups of 6 to the 3 4s. And yes, we were probably a little bit disappointed with that, because we were only up from intermediate, and we said, right, the few extra games in the group, let us bed into senior. And then they called the other group the Group of A. I think we got the Group of A. On Talker, Bray, the only team to beat us. And Baltinglass, we drew with Baltinglass. We were 6 points down with 10 minutes to go, and we come back and probably should have won that game. We had a bad day in Bray. It was probably the worst day we've had all year, to be fair. We knew we had to do again on Talker, which have 5 or 6, I think, county footballers, and we come through that as well. We won fairly handy again, Ratnew. We come on then to Arklage Airlines, and as the draw was made, I think it was wrong in the paper this week that every team wanted Carnew, but we didn't care who we got, So what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people, Carnew, it's not a shock to me. As the lad said earlier on the intermediate panel thing there, we drew a Hollywood last year, and I watched that match back on YouTube the other night, and we were lucky to go with Aughrim that day. We draw. And right, we probably won the replay convincingly, but it just goes to show the standard of intermediate. And I know it was mentioned earlier, like there's serious teams in that intermediate championship. So like I'm not like Hollywood or Avondale could be us next year. Like it's a very thin line between the two. So that's about how I have to say on it. But look, I'll push it again. We're there on merit. We're not there as the team who's lucky to come up from intermediate and get straight to a senior final.
100%, Brian. And for yourself there, Robert McHugh, I'll go to yourself next. So you came up against the county champions, Tinahely. You went to extra time with them. You know, like strong kind of battle. How do you think the lads got over the line that day?
Well, look, in fairness to the lads, they've shown a remarkable resilience since getting out of the group. We had a titanic battle up in Blessing against Kiltegan, went to extra time and went to penalties, and the boys kicked 5 superb penalties to get over the line. So they did really well that day. Kiltegan are a really strong outfit and some brilliant players. Then in the semi-final, they showed great resilience again Tinahely, controlled the game nicely, and then in injury time, I think their fitness took over, and they showed real character that day, which is really, really good for them, you know. And I think they're well prepared for the final. They know what's ahead of them. They've prepared meticulously well. I mean, Carnew are a fine side. Let's call a spade a spade. The results are no fluke, you know. They've some really good, great goalkeeper, fine full back in Justin House, good centre back Tommy Collins, Michael Rock, cornerback and captain, really good leader of the team. Pauric Doran in the middle of the field. Mercurial Ben Brosnan at 11, and second cousin of mine, Sean Murphy, who comes from the Willoughby family down in Carnew. So, I mean, Yvonne and myself are always on the phone talking about it, you know. She loves Sean so much, you know, and great chap, really, really good player. So, he's going to take a lot of watching. He's brilliant from the dead ball, fantastic player with Gory range, we know all about him, you know. So, in that context, the lads are well prepared. We have our own guys who are doing really well at the moment. It could become a shootout between Ben Brosnan and Tommy Keogh, who's having a brilliant season shooting the lights out. So it's going to be a fantastic battle. The lads are well prepared. They're up for the game. And look, I think if we perform on the day, we have a fantastic chance of bringing the Miley back home. But if we don't perform, Carnew could slip us. And that's the way we feel about it genuinely. So we're giving them the utmost respect on the day. And if I may say so, it's an exciting week for us because our ladies are in the intermediate final on Saturday. I want to wish Bernie and the girls the very best of luck on Saturday. And it's an exciting week, but it's been a sad week as well because on Monday we lost one of our true Gaels, Ken Brown. And I just want to pay tribute to all the people here in the room who turned up at his funeral in such massive numbers. Ken was an iconic figure in our club, a great leader, 88 years of age. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Wicklow over 10 years ago. Served the chairman from 1977 to 83. Won his first championship in 1958, went on to collect 7 medals, won 4 minor championships and 1 hurling medal, believe it or believe it not. And I know John Sullivan alluded to it earlier. He played against him as a young fella in the 1971 final when Baltinglass beat Carnew that day. And we didn't get the cup that actually because Ratnew wouldn't give it back, so we only had medals. But at least it's up there to collect on Sunday. So I just want to remember Ken in that context. I know people held him in high esteem, and thank you to everybody for coming to his funeral. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Brian, Robert and Liam, thank you very much for joining me here. Now, lads, best of luck to both teams on the weekend, and hopefully the deserved winner will come out of it.
Thanks a million.
Well, now that was our final panel of the evening. I'd like to invite Damien Byrne up here now as we're going to do the draw for the championship finals tickets. Right on, Damien. Oh, a couple of slips there now.
Okay, you can bring them up, yeah.
If he wins now, that's a bit How many does he have? All right. So, Damien, how have you found the club championship this year?
Yeah, the club championship has been very exciting. First of all, I want to congratulate all the teams that's reached the county finals from Junior D right up to Senior and from Junior B in the hurling right up to the Senior hurling. But I just want to compliment all the clubs to participate in our championship. Wicklow, we were lucky enough to go well and reach the final of the Tailteann Cup, but unfortunately, or in the semi-final rather, but unfortunately we had to change our format of our championship, and on that I want to thank the clubs that bought into it. Now, every championship game in Wicklow this year has been very competitive, and to be fair, I want to thank the CCC, who had a huge job of trying to work it out with the clubs as well and make sure that the clubs were happy with the championships that they had. Okay, the senior hurling mightn't have been enough games, some of the clubs felt, but it's something that we can look at next year. But to be fair, every game that was played in the championship, from junior right up to senior, was very, very competitive. And I wanted to thank the clubs, and especially their patrons and supporters, who came out every week here to either Aughrim or wherever their championship match was played, and supported their teams. It's a huge ask, like especially the dual clubs, UC Carnew, Bray, my own club, Kiltegan, Gleneely, Rathnew would have dual players. You know, and them players are out 10, 12, 13 weeks in a row. It is a lot and a big ask for the dual player. But them clubs has to be complimented in the way they participated in it and the way they bring their players out. And there's a lot of work going on in clubs now with S&C, you know, to make sure players is able to get through the programme. But once again, I couldn't speak highly enough of the clubs and especially the CCC in running the competitions, because there was a lot of games every weekend. I think on one weekend we had 16 games to be run off, starting off in the championship of a Friday night, Saturday and Sunday. So like there's a huge amount of venues that you can see with the programme that has been out there. And again, when it comes to the knockout stages, we have our own Wicklow TV. And I want to thank yourself, Daniel, who's done an excellent job on that, and to Stephen. It has given a scope for all the patrons in Wicklow that they can look at matches that doesn't get to it, and also they can look back on the matches. So once again, thank everybody in Wicklow GA for that participation.
Ronnie just mentioned there, like how we found the support this year for the club championship. As good as ever.
Yeah, this year has been up with the support coming to the games. I think since COVID, people realise that sport is one of the best organisations, and especially GA, it is the best organisation in the world. It brings everybody out, it gives everybody an outlet, and everybody can participate in it in many different ways. You don't have to be a player, you can be a member, and you can be on a committee or, you know, a volunteer. But more and more, especially the one part that is taken off is ladies football, probably more so than camogie. It seems to be expanding right throughout the country, and it's fantastic to see it, because that's bringing the whole family to the games, whether it's LGFA, whether it's camogie, or whether it's GA or juvenile. But the whole family now are going to a game to support, whether it's a female or a male game. So it's brilliant to see.
Brilliant. And just finally, I'll give you one final one. Predict every single final that's going to happen. What's your verdict, Damien?
That's the one question I didn't want, Daniel. I think the senior is going to be a draw, and I honestly do. I think that both teams are going to be very cagey, to be fair. Both of them are there on merit.
Is that the football or hurling?
The football. Both of them are there on merit. Again, there's been fantastic games of football, but I think the draw is, and I hope so, for our sake.
Brilliant. So we're going to get over to the draw here now.
Yeah, we'll do the draw. I have tickets for next Saturday for the Junior A and the Intermediate final, and then for Sunday for the Senior football. And then for the following weekend, we have two lots of tickets for the Sunday for the Intermediate hurling and the Senior hurling. So we'll do the draw now.
Brilliant.
So Daniel, I'll ask you to dip your hand down there. This is for Saturday.
This is for Saturday Junior A and Intermediate Football Championship Finals. Peter Halpin. Fair play, Peter.
Come ahead up, Peter.
Hollywood.
While we're waiting for Peter to come up, we'll go, Daniel, just pull out one for the Sunday.
So for the Senior Football Championship final, apologies here now, I think it says Rob Houlihan, or Bob Houlihan. He's a doctor, I'd say, this fella. The handwriting.
I think it's the judge. Ed the Hallahan, is it? Hallahan, I think, yeah. It's Ed the Hallahan. That's the Senior. Ed is on crutches, so well done. Okay, we're going to draw two then. The first one out for the following Sunday for the Senior Intermediate and Senior Hurling final. So the first two tickets.
First two tickets go to Christine Kinsella.
Okay, for another two tickets for the Intermediate and Senior Hurling.
So the next one is for Paul O'Brien. Best luck. Well, just want to say a big thank you to everyone here. Give yourselves a massive bowl of us there, please.
Sorry, just before I finish up, just a thank you as well to the CE guys that works here and to Martin Fitzgerald who came in here today to set up the room. So just a big bowl of us for those people. Thank you.
Of course, now we come to the end of this. I want to wish all the teams best of luck in the finals to come, and we're going to be led out from Carnew with Toni, Doran, Ensemble. officially come to the end of Up for the Match. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us here in Echelon Park this evening, all the panellists, all the acts we've had. Also, again, best luck to all the teams going to the final, and of course, best luck to all the referees going into the final. Honestly, and a big thank you from the county. We couldn't play these games without you, literally. So, listen, best of luck and take care.